This is a manual mapping video, and what I'll be showing you is off the controller of a Mini 3. So first of all, we go into the safety menu and we look at making sure our altitude is set properly to a maximum. Our geofence distance is appropriate, and our return to home altitude is something that will, if the drone has to come home, it'll not interfere with anything. It'll make it above the treetops. I always do a compass calibration at any new site, so it's very easy to do. Follow the instructions on your pad. And I like to go into the camera and make sure the grid lines are on. That's going to help with manual mapping and with your overlap. And I always format the SD card on my new site, so I have a clean card. I say I have 26 satellites. I set it to 48 megapixel mode. I manually start and have to make the check. This is okay. Now I'm going to take off manually. And at this point, I'm putting my gimbal down to nadir, which is straight down. And here I'm flying forward and back, left and right, making sure that I'm confident that my controller is responding. The RC is responding to the drone. A little left turn, left, right. And what I like to do is a panorama as my very first flight. I go up to a decent altitude. This gives me two things. It gives me sight awareness, and it also provides me about 2 minutes of the drone just kind of warming up, assessing the winds and things like that. There was a little bit of wind, so it halted the panorama. So I'm coming down a little bit and starting the panorama again, doing a sphere. And this gives me situational awareness, and if for any reason the drone behaves errantly, I can just bring it straight down and abort the mission. So after I do my checks, I do a panorama on takeoff. You can see the grid lines here. That's going to help me in my manual mapping to provide adequate overlap in case I don't see things on the ground. If I'm over water or shoreline, I use the grid lines to help align my next row of pictures. But here I'm just still doing the panorama. You can see the panorama actually stops taking pictures at 50%, and now it is stitching these images in the drone. We do have some issues with some of the new Mini 3s that are not stitching in the drone. But anyways, when my panorama is done, I clicked in the lower left to put in the map feature. I click on photos. I click the 48 megapixel, and then I go to timed shots. I use 2 seconds intervals, and I tap the middle of the screen to autofocus, and I slip my slider to Cine mode. Then I press the button to start the images, and I run my first line. Here I'm doing a field out near Rose Lake off Upton Road. This is Rose Lake State Game Area. So I've run my first line straight out. Now I'm just coming left. I'm trying to bound the area, and then I'm coming back down. So my fingers are only on the right joystick. I am at the altitude I want to be at. This is 91 feet, so I'm just moving the right joystick out, over, and now I'm coming back. There you can see my home point. And now I'm just moving a little bit even further to the left. Kind of keeping a few things in the frame, and now coming back up. This is my third line of manual mapping. So being in cine mode helps the drone take very stable pictures. You won't fly too fast, and like I said, it's very stable. So here I can see I'm reaching the end of my line if I look in the lower left. So I'm going to slide over again. Oh, I got to go up a little bit more. Slide over. Again, just on the right joystick. That's all you have to press. You don't have to turn the drone or anything. Just forward and back and a little bit to the left. Now I'm coming back down on another line. Now I tapped the lower left to bring up the map that I'm actually making. Because at this point, I'm kind of like at the edge of where the area I'm mapping. So I can see from my drone, I'm going to go one more line. I'm going to go up, over, and then up. And those of you who know from a post-processing perspective, sometimes your edges will curl because you only have one line on the outside edge of your images that you collect. So what I like to do is when I get my area mapped is that I will do another run around the perimeter. You see I have plenty of battery life. I have 32 minutes left. I have 29 satellites. My radio controller is 5 bars, so everything is good. So now I'm coming back on my perimeter line. I'm a little too close to the old line, so I'm going to pop out a little bit to the right, and now I'm coming back. So I got to this point, and I wanted to run another line, a perimeter line across the bottom. And now for my perimeter line, I like where I was on the outside there, on that bottom line. So I'm just going to come up within that little box and do make my perimeter line on the bottom inside of the line I just flew. Now this is enough overlap, but there's a little bit of a bigger gap you'll see in that upper section there, the next box up, kind of like the rectangular. There I went the wrong way, made a mistake. But now I'm going to come back, I'm going to go into this rectangle between these two lines, and I'm going to just come back within those two other runs. So now I'm getting coverage in an area that may have been a little bit sparse. So this is how you can double check and cross areas that maybe are a little bit too much of a gap. Very easy to do. So that's basically manual mapping. Now, from an advanced perspective, if you turn the drone, since I have plenty of battery life, I turned the drone 90 degrees, and now I'm doing what's basically known as cross stitch. Again, I'm staying at altitude, and I'm just using, at this point, the right joystick, and now I'm going up and then to the left. And now I'm going on a diagonal. So now you're getting into some very more advanced techniques from manual mapping, where you're getting overlap for from many different lines. You don't have to run straight lines. In fact, if you look at some of the more advanced programs, they run these kind of lines from different angles. So now I'm just running like a diamond pattern within my original box pattern. And that's basically it. That's manual mapping. At this point, I've turned off the imagery, and I'm just showing you what the screen shows as I come back to my launch pad. Hope you found this useful.